Rarely do sequels outperform the originals, but every once in a while we get a sequel that doubles down on the original by taking everything that made the original so special, and then they do it again but even better the second time around. Now, sequels of this nature rarely introduce any groundbreaking features, but sometimes it doesn't need to in order for the sequel to outperform the original. How many movies have we seen this in over the years? Take Rocky 1 and its sequel Rocky 2, or take Back to the Future Part 1 and Part 2. Both of these movie sequels revisited main themes, characters, scenes, and music from the original's films, and the sequels were wildly successful. So, does it translate in the video game world as well as it did in the movie space? Let's dive in and find out. In Alwa's legacy, we once again take control of Zoe. After her adventures in Alwa's awakening, Zoe attempts to return home but finds a familiar enemy standing in her way, and on top of that, she's lost her memory. The only way Zoe can return home is by collecting magical gemstones spread throughout the land of Alwa. Each magic gemstone is of course being held by one of the game's many bosses. Each magical gemstone you collect will help to restore Zoe's memory so she can once again save the world of Alwa. Much like Alwa's awakening, you're not going to find a deep narrative here, and that's okay. Not every game needs to have a deep narrative. I mean, how many times have we saved Princess Peach in Super Mario Bros.? The story is always the same, but it doesn't matter because the game was never about the story. In Alwa's legacy, you will once again use your magical staff and progress through a large, interconnected metroidvania world where you'll solve puzzles, fight enemies, and of course defeat many bosses. Explore and uncover the secrets by using your platforming skills in a challenging and charming now 16-bit adventure. Alwa's Awakening is a game that tries to stay as close as possible to the authentic 8-bit look and feel, while Alwa's Legacy is essentially a 16-bit super-powered sequel to the original. Think Castlevania on the NES to Super Castlevania 4 on the SNES. Or Metroid to Super Metroid, or even the original Legend of Zelda to A Link to the Past. Alwa's Legacy took everything they did right in Alwa's Awakening and essentially supersized it in every possible way, just like Castlevania, Metroid, and Zelda did when they made the leap from the 8-bit NES to the 16-bit Super Nintendo. Jumping in now to the gameplay, the game controls and plays much like Alwa's Awakening. The magical staff is once again your main weapon, but you can now use the orbs you've collected throughout the game as a form of currency to upgrade your staff abilities, and you get to choose what abilities you want to upgrade first, which is a very nice addition. For example, if you want to unlock, say, the ability to create a bubble that will never pop before upgrading any other ability, you can do that as long as you have enough orbs. Better yet, if you find a particular area in the game where you actually need a different ability, but you don't have enough orbs for it, you can go to the wizard and remove the orbs from said ability, and then use those same orbs to upgrade a different ability. Just like in Alwa's Awakening, you'll earn many magical staff abilities throughout the game, but in Alwa's Legacy, you'll also learn a handful of passive abilities. Just to tell you about a few of the abilities, you can gain the ability to walk on spikes for a limited time, perform an air dash, transport yourself through solid walls, and even an ability to slow down time, which plays a major role in solving much of the game's puzzles. Another highlight that's new to Alwa's Legacy is the addition of dungeon-like temples reminiscent of what you'd find in 2D Zelda games or even the more recent Shanty game releases. And just like those classic 2D Zelda dungeons, you'll need to use a new ability that you find in the temple, and you'll get to fight one of the game's many cool bosses. So when it comes to gameplay, everything I enjoyed about Alwa's Awakening is here, but it's bigger, better, and has more variety. So suffice to say, I enjoyed the gameplay in Alwa's Legacy even more than I did in Alwa's Awakening, and I really enjoyed Alwa's Awakening. Okay, let's talk about the game's graphics now. Alwa's Legacy still maintains its lovely pixel art style, but instead of looking like an 8-bit NES game, it's more reminiscent of what a graphically impressive 16 to 32-bit game would look like. I very much enjoyed the way Alwa's Legacy stepped up the game's visuals, and I also felt like developer Elden Pixels must have made it a point to use a larger and more colorful palette to really bring the game's environments to life. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the improvement in the sprites department as well. From the moment the game started, I could clearly see that Alwa's Legacy took a huge leap forward in every aspect of the game's graphics department. So if you appreciate that 2D pixelated eye candy as much as I do, then you're going to be in for a real treat. Jumping in now to the sound department, if Alwa's Awakening was a nod to the 8-bit era, then Alwa's Legacy is an ode to the 16-bit generation. You will hear many familiar tunes as you make your way through the land of Alwa, but the music makes that 8 to 16-bit jump in the sound quality department. So if you enjoyed the game's original soundtrack like I did, you're going to get the same results with Alwa's Legacy, but at a much higher sound quality. So, who is this game for? First and foremost, it's going to be for Metroidvania fans and fans of the original game, because if you like either of those, then there's a good chance you're going to find plenty to love here. Additionally, I think that anyone who appreciates dungeons, ability, and bosses you'd find in a 2D Zelda game, and even some of the later Shanty games, should play Alwa's Legacy. Talking now about the game's overall content, Alwa's Legacy does have one interesting piece of content if you're a trophy hunter. Essentially, there's a trophy called the Pacifist Trophy where you have to complete the game without any violence, meaning if you kill even one enemy, the game will autosave that kill and you'll be locked out of the Pacifist Trophy, which in turn would lock you out of the Platinum, requiring you to start a new run if you make one mistake. Might be fun, might be frustrating. I'm not going to do it because there's just too many great games to play, but if you have done it, please let me know about your experience in the comment section below, as I would be interested to hear what that was like. Switching over now to the game's level of difficulty. I didn't find Alwa's Legacy to be too difficult, nor did I find it to be too easy. I actually thought it was very well balanced. I definitely died a lot throughout the game, but in a game where you have unlimited lives, the difficulty really comes down to the obstacle-oriented platforming, learning the boss's attack patterns, and solving the game's intricate puzzles. Patience is a helpful skill set to have when playing games like this, and if you don't currently possess that skill set, that's okay because you might by the time you finish it. Nothing like learning experience points for real-life skill sets by playing video games, right? When it comes to the game's grind, much like Alwa's Awakening, there is also no sort of grindy mechanics in Alwa's Legacy unless you are trying to go for the Platinum Trophy, in which case you would need to find all the blue orbs, fully upgrade your magical staff, and 100% the map, as well as completing all side quests. But if you're just playing the game to see, do, and explore as much as you can, without going completely out of your way to get a trophy, then the game's not going to feel grindy. Talking now about the game's emotion and charm, Alwa's Legacy really hits home in the nostalgia department, much like Alwa's Awakening did. The Alwa's games are very much their own unique game, and at the same time you experience hints of other game franchises that you may have a long history with, as do I when you play Alwa's Legacy. The dungeons, abilities, and boss designs really harken back to some of the finest from the 16 to 32-bit era, yet this game was released in 2021. For an older gamer like me, I really appreciate it when you can play a brand new game that truly feels like it came straight from the 90s. Sort of like the new Top Gun Maverick movie. I grew up with the original 1986 Top Gun, and of course it was and is still one of my favorite movies to this very day. Fast forward now to 2022, which is a difference of 36 years, and we're treated to Top Gun Maverick, which I think actually surpassed the original, but one thing it did extremely well from the opening credits is make it feel like we never left 1986. The movie has the same look, feel, and presentation of the 1986 original. I think anytime we can experience a new movie or a TV show or play a new video game that can perfectly encapsulate a time or era from the past, it should be applauded because it's not easy to create something new that can somehow make you feel like you traveled back in time. So was Alwa's Legacy fun? Without a doubt. It was actually more fun than Alwa's Awakening. And if you haven't watched that review yet, I'll leave a link in the description below. But I had an absolute blast, and as it's been echoed throughout this entire review, Alwa's Legacy does everything Alwa's Awakening did, but better. Now, if you're wondering how long it took me to finish the game, my PS5 once again says I played for right around 10 hours, which is the same amount of time it took me to complete the first game, Alwa's Awakening. You can pick up a brand new physical copy of the game for either Switch or PS4 for $29.99, and I'll leave an Amazon link to it in the description below if you're interested in playing through these awesome retro-inspired Metroidvania games. Alright guys, now it's time to give you my final thoughts on Alwa's Legacy. My hope was that by the time we got to the end of this review, that you, the viewer, would know that Alwa's Legacy is bigger and better than Alwa's Awakening in every possible way. And that comes as no slight to Alwa's Awakening because that's a game I thoroughly enjoyed and highly recommend. But literally everything in Alwa's Legacy was improved upon, and rarely does that happen. Usually when we get a game sequel, yes, there are areas that are improved upon, but then oftentimes other areas of the games take a step backwards. But that wasn't the case here with Alwa's Legacy. If you didn't know, Alwa's Legacy was able to be made only through its funding on Kickstarter. I read that before beginning the game design, developer Eldon Pixels made a list of the most common complaints made about Alwa's Awakening and set out to improve on each of them. I applaud Eldon Pixels for listening to their fans and solving for the previous game's complaints, while at the same time doing so without undermining or reducing the quality of other areas of the game that we enjoy. So often we get sequels that want to reinvent the wheel when all the fans really wanted was more of the things that worked so well in the original, and that's exactly what we got with Alwa's Legacy. So with that said, I highly recommend picking up a physical copy of Alwa's collection so you can play it and enjoy it as much as I did. Now guys, if you're new to this channel and you enjoyed today's video, please like it and subscribe so I can continue reviewing games, and leave me a comment. I always enjoy reading what you guys have to say, and you can agree or disagree with my review. It makes no difference to me because that's your opinion, you're entitled to it, and more often than not, you guys make a lot of great points, and in turn, I'm also able to learn from you guys, and that's what it's all about, right? So once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. What's up guys? If you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button as it helps me out a ton. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Over here to the left, you can find all my social media info, or just remember to search for ThunderSteve85. As always, thank you guys for tuning in, and remember, you're never too old to play video games.